नमस्कार. गजाली या कार्यक्रमात तुमकां सगळ्यांक परत एकदा मायमोगाचो येवकार. Now it is said that life is not easy. We have to make it easy. Sometimes by ignoring something, sometimes by accepting something. Now we have amongst us such personality, of course from Goa, who has made his life and his family's life very easy, for which he has ignored some things and he has accepted some things. Now I will not take much of your time because we have a lot to learn, we have a lot to hear from this personality. I will not tell you the name first because you have to recognize this personality. Now I will request him to remove his cap.
Just find out whether do you recognize me?
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Now, as you have correctly recognized, it's none other than Goa's one of the topmost, very senior lawyer, Advocate Surendra Desai. Surendra Bab, nice to welcome you.
Very nice.
My privilege to meet you.
Very nice of you, doctor.
Now, I would just like to start from your very, very early education days. From where did you come? What were the facilities for your education and your family life?
Doctor, I hailed from a village in Perne Taluka known as Dhargalim. It was a remote village then during Portuguese time. And I don't know whether I was born on an auspicious occasion or an auspicious day. I was born on 26 January 1945, and in 1947 we had the independence. Maybe I announced it in 45. Earlier life was little difficult, different, but most honest and most lovely and full of love and affection. Being from a village, all boys together played, together worked, together enjoyed, and that showed some sort of amity than politics. I grew, primary education was in the village itself. Then at that time it was necessary, because it was a Portuguese time, it was necessary to compulsorily learn primeiro grau. Then only you can go to higher studies or next class. So I did that, and thereafter I was at Kolwale, which is very close to the village. I was in other standards. Then for the last 3 years, somewhere in 1959 to 61, I was in Vasco, where I was staying with one of my relations. And I passed out SSC from St. Andrews Institute, Vasco da Gama.
I see. So, post-liberation.
Post-liberation. There was another problem because I went in 1960 during Portuguese time for my SSC exam in Bombay, because those days SSC was not available here. You had to go out and connect yourself with the SSC board and appear in the exam. In 1961, I went to Bombay before liberation, sometime in February or so, because the exams were held in March. I appeared in 2 papers, and when the third paper was coming, I got chicken pox.
Oh.
I could not appear in the remaining papers. And it so happens, look at the opportunity which falls, and the destiny says no. In the third paper, which was a Hindi paper, there was some relation who was working in government printing press. And she came running, saying that, "Mister, your paper is there, no? Hindi paper, this is the Hindi paper." But as luck would have it, as destiny would bother about it, I could not appear because I was with chicken pox. So I came back in March 1961. Then I went in October 61, because there used to be exams twice a year. October 61 I went, I appeared in the exams, and I was declared pass. But I had to wait because there was some problem between India and then Goa, which was a Portuguese colony, and there was fights. And I remained in Bombay till the liberation of Goa on 19th December 61, effective from 28th December 61, and then came down. Came down maybe somewhere in December or January 1962.
That time there were no colleges in Goa.
There were no colleges, and the first time, if I remember well, Parvatibai Chaugule College started in Margao for the academic year 1962-63.
Oh. But then did you join that?
I joined it, not because I wanted to join it, because my elder brother or my parents wanted me to join, because my elder brother was elder to me and he was the motivator for everything. And I listened to him because he loved me, left, right and center. So after SSC, my inclination was towards the arts, language, this and that. Brother said, no arts, now you better be a science student. Science is better appreciated in the market, so you do BSc instead of B. So, because he said, I went there. My father arranged a stay in Margao because he knew some people. I lived with the family in Margao and appeared. But that was so unfortunate again. We had this college started, if I remember well, in barracks, those military barracks at Aken or somewhere.
Aken.
Military barracks. Our principal, if I remember well, was one Dr. Wagh.
Yeah.
And then the whole thing was mismatch because nothing had started properly. The laboratory had not, because it was just the beginning. And ultimately, according to me, I was a casualty. I lost in the first year of BSc. Then 63, my elder brother again said, he was then in Panjim. He said, you don't go there, you become an engineer. You better do diploma engineering.
Oh.
So he saw, and I got admitted in Polytechnic, which was near Pharmacy College in Panjim.
Correct.
So 63, I was in Panjim. Then then other things happened.
But how did you suddenly jump on to law? And where did you do your law? There were no law colleges there in Goa again.
Yeah, there were no law colleges. There was, of course, arts colleges.
Correct.
But I am a graduate from Punjab University in Patiala. Then I am a law graduate from Bangalore University.
Oh. Now, see, you did your law in Bangalore University.
Yeah.
What made you come back to Goa? Because in Goa, practicing law, it was not a pasture at all.
It's a long story, doctor. What happened was, after I did my graduation in arts, I thought of completing the sequence. After BA, I thought of doing MA. But I used to come back home after appearing in exams. And again, my elder brother intervened. He says, why don't you do law, some professional degree, instead of going and doing MA? I again listened to him. And perchance I became a lawyer.
No. Which otherwise means that you have to listen to your adults. Sometimes you don't like it. You don't feel that. You think that they are trying to push you against your wishes into something else. But here is a person who listened to his elder brother on every step, and you see the results today. But that's good.
Yes, without bothering about the consequences, because he said, I said, I will do it. Yeah. Out of respect, love and affection, because only what I knew was what he was trying to suggest was from the bottom of his heart.
Then after coming law, you immediately went into practice.
Yeah, after, I did my law in somewhere 71, 72, if I remember correctly. But then I came out from the Indian Air Force in 1974, April. And thereafter got my sanat, and I started law or practice in law from 29 June 1974.
Oh, full practice, independent practice?
Not independent practice. That time you had to join some senior man. Advocate G.D. Kamath was suggested to me by another person. I didn't know him. And then I became a junior. I worked as a junior for 10 years until he became a High Court judge.
10 years, huh?
10 years. He was appointed as judge somewhere in 83, 83, 84, for nearly 10 years.
Oh. Doctor, you, as a lawyer, you are more known, at least you were more known as a criminal lawyer at that time. No, you also handle civil cases, I know. But can you remember your first case, criminal case?
Yeah, my first criminal case, which gave me some status in the society of lawyers. I remember I was a junior of Advocate G.T. Kamath, and he eventually got busy after I started with him. I don't know whether I was lucky for him or not. Then what happened? There was a barber just near that Cafe Real where you have now. There was some triangular building.
Correct.
And he was having one of the shops there, the barber shop. He was accused of committing a murder of one of his relations, if I remember well. And I think he approached Mr. Kamath. Mr. Kamath was busy or he was becoming a judge, I don't remember exactly well. So he said, this gentleman is going to handle your case. I am not going to handle, I don't have time. So I got opportunity. I used to go with him to civil courts, lower courts. Sometimes I was allowed to cross-examine. I used to cross-examine. So I had little experience, gained some experience for nearly 10 years. And it so worked out that the barber was acquitted.
Oh.
And if somebody is acquitted in a murder case,
Correct.
That's how things worked out for me.
Oh. And then you started getting those cases.
Yes, I started getting. In the meantime, Mr. Kamath became a High Court judge. I had worked under him for 10 years. Only thing he realized at the end of his tenure as a lawyer, that there is some man I can entrust with something. So he dumped all cases on me. There were so many other juniors, some of them also were jealous that I was handling all the cases. But he thought if I entrust this to him, he will do justice or he will work hard, because he knew I was working hard. And I could give it to other juniors, something of that sort, but he dumped everything on me. He became a High Court judge. That again was an impetus for me to become more famous, according to me.
Correct.
Because I also started appearing in the High Court. He used to appear in the High Court.
Correct.
So it went on. Luck helped.
Now, one question. What is, see, you handle criminal cases, you handle civil cases. I mean, your winning rate must be above 95%. So what special thing as a lawyer that you think is required for practicing lawyers to be a criminal lawyer? What is that thing which a criminal lawyer must have to be one up than fighting civil cases?
According to me, criminal lawyers want to win a criminal case by turning black into white and white into black. According to me, it is not correct. For every crime, there is a reason. So what is the base and foundation of that reason has to be found out. And on the basis of that foundation, if you are able to create a doubt in the mind of the criminal court, then you are entitled to acquittal. So instead of turning black into white or white into black, taking an entirely false defense, it may not be good for a criminal lawyer, according to me. You should carve out a defense on the basis of foundational sequence which prompted somebody to commit a crime.
Oh, I see. Achha.
Have a defense having honest foundation. But you have to, you are bound to defend your client, whatever he says. But you should find out what he says, all has to be put. Or on the basis of what he correctly says, you have to carve out a defense for him which is in his interest. Some of the lawyers, some of us, we believe in this black into white and white into black.
And see, like we doctors, we are taught medicine. But ultimately, it is our skills in surgery or it is our skills in diagnosing a particular disease that ultimately cures or helps the patient. Similarly, lawyers are taught law. But what are those skills which you should have? Like say, presenting yourself, good language, sense of, what is it? I mean, how much is the knowledge and how much is your skill?
Knowledge basic knowledge does count, but your skill is in the honesty to defend your client. If you want to defend your client honestly, you have to understand his case. You have to find out what defense can be you have for him so that he can be acquitted or he can get a relief. And accordingly, research. See, ultimately, according to me, law is common sense. You can't be just reading cases and applying it. You may misapply it. That doesn't work. Ultimately, common sense works. On the basis of common sense, you research, you find out, you carve out a defense or carve out a beginning plea for your case when you start with a case on behalf of plaintiff or the person who is wanting to go in litigation. So ultimately, according to me, what works out is the honesty and impartiality and independence.
Impartiality, honesty, and independence on the part of the lawyer.
Yes, and not on the part of the lawyer doesn't work. You must see that the judge also behaves independently, understands law. You have to make him understand the law. He may not know. Merely because a judge is there as a judge, it doesn't mean he knows the law. So you have to find out where you should adjust yourself so that you can make judge believe what you say has some meaning, has some substance in law, has some background in law. Like that you have to work it out.
Now, I think today also the new students who come out of, they become graduates in law, they have to do their internship or they become somebody's juniors.
Yeah.
Now, during your time, you were a junior. Now, you must be having juniors with you.
Yeah.
Do you find any difference between your behavior between you and your senior and now between you and your juniors?
I find difference because when I was a junior of somebody, I must tell you very frankly, I was already otherwise employed before I started law. I was earning. When I became somebody's junior, I was not earning anything, and it was a problem, and it continued for nearly 10 years. So that gives you patience, that gives you perseverance, that gives you the idea how to survive. And that has helped me, but which today juniors do not understand. They want to become your junior because they want to just next day start without finding out whether they are competent to do that. That is the difference. You have to understand everything, you have to suffer, and then you have to yourself realize, yes, you can do it honestly, which today juniors don't do. They want to just come up faster.
But I think this is your attitude. Turning something negative into positive, I think this is the basic attitude of your success.
That's true. Law has also helped. Something you do honestly to the last moment, and something turns in your favor.
Well, now let us come to the crux of this interview. You must have seen, or you are seeing him in this particular uniform, and you must have seen him with his cap on when we began the interview. And for identification, I request him to remove that cap. Now let us hear from him what this is all about, and then we will realize what a personality this man is. So, Surendra Desai, what is this?
This is all about I being accidentally inducted into the Indian Air Force as a regular combatant.
Wow.
On 30th of October 1963. As I told you, doctor, I used to respect my parents, I used to respect my elders in the family because I was convinced whatever they said was most honestly said with love and affection to me. So after I started in 1963 June as a diploma student in this Polytechnic, this was somewhere in June, July 1963. My elder brother, who was always interested in seeing that I prosper in life, what he was, he did not believe or did not want to improve. So he happened to meet a recruiting officer who had come to Goa, a recruiting officer for Indian Air Force. He was an officer, flight lieutenant, if I remember, his name was Flight Lieutenant Puri. So I don't know how my brother met him. So he told him, see, I want my brother to be a war pilot. What he has to do, how much he has to learn, what is the qualification? He says, he asked him, what is the qualification of mine? He says, he's doing this diploma. He says, for being a pilot, that is enough. SSC was that time.
Oh,
The
I
qualification if you want to apply. Then what he said here was, see, I have come as a recruiting officer. Let him get into the Air Force in the ranks as a small man. He'll be better trained. Because if you are a civilian, you may not know all these things. I will give him good trade as a ground engineer. So let him get into the Air Force. Let him get trained by the Air Force people so that he will be more confident to become a war pilot. So my brother said, it is like this, you better get into the Air Force. I got into the Air Force. After getting into the Air Force, I realized I was a small man and the pilot was a bigger man. So there was some competition and it was very difficult to become a pilot. I would have become a pilot if I had to directly get myself recruited as a pilot in the Indian Air Force. But being in the Air Force in lower ranks, it was difficult for me because of some ego, some rivalry, some problem. Then I said, I had signed for 9 years, I must get out from the Air Force. Then I was just SSC then, getting out from the Air Force after 9 years, I had signed for 9 years compulsory service, was meaningless, so I thought I must improve. Incidentally, it so happened that I was in Punjab. I was then in Patiala, and there people are more concerned, they have more respect for armed personnel or person from forces. And even the university would not insist upon a student being regularly in the college. He had to show that he was in the Air Force or in the Army or in the Navy, and he would be directly admitted and allowed to appear for exams. So I got myself connected directly with the university, although I was taking tuition somewhere outside, that is for my reason. And eventually I was there for 4.5 years. I was a graduate. So after I became a graduate, I used to every year appear in the exams and come home. Wow. So we used to have 2 months holiday in a year. So take 2 months holiday, study for 15, 20 days, get ready for the exams, appear in the exams, and the next second month we spend at home. So I came home, and again my brother was the only person then. So he said, Mister, why you want to do MA? I told him I want to finish this stream. He says, why you want to do MA? You take some professional course, man, become LLB. Again, I became a lawyer by accident.
And see, you have about 47 years of practice now of law.
Yes.
Was there any chance of you becoming a High Court judge?
Oh my God. You have asked doctor a very, very serious question. I was offered High Court judgeship, if I remember well, in the year 1996. I was designated as a senior advocate. See, I am a senior advocate from December 1995. Senior advocate means giving that silk is sort of a distinction on a lawyer who is conferred that silk on the basis of his excellent knowledge or service as a lawyer. So I was offered this silk in December 1995. And that time I was already on the list, along with 2 others. So but something happened, and the 2 others who were otherwise junior, who were just advocates, and I was a senior designated advocate, they were made senior 1 year after me. And they were elevated. That could not have happened. So somehow that mistake was there, intentionally done. So then the Chief Justice, suddenly after 2 or 3 months, came to me. He said, there is some mistake, we'll sort it out. You will get your, judgeship very fast. We'll not detain you much further. So, come on. I said, no. He was shocked. He says, you are saying no for High Court judgeship? I said, yes. I said, this silk, this gown which you have given me, the entire High Court has given me. That gown says, by virtue of it being conferred on me earlier, I am a senior, there is a different seniority. If that is so, how do you first elevate my juniors? irrespective of they being advocates before me. Because this is a different classification. I said, I don't want it. I'm sorry.
Oh.
That was in 1996.
Yeah.
And I'm happy. I'm independent. Because I refused to be a High Court judge, I got more respect amongst judges because everybody said, this is the man who refused to be a judge. He could have sat next to us.
Now we come very close to the end of it. Now, why this honor was conferred on you? I'll just read what is that honor. This honor is honored by Air Force Association for showing courage and bravery in civil life, achieving a high status in the society. He was honored on 31st October 2021. So, why this honor was conferred?
So, doctor, it is like this. If you are serving during war, if you are assigned a duty which is directly affecting your performance or your enemy's performance, supposing like a pilot, if you are detailed on a sortie to go and destroy enemy property or something else, and if you do it, if you die in the process, you may get posthumously a war Mahavir Chakra or Veer Chakra. If you do it successfully and come back, you can also get a Veer Chakra. Now, all people who are not directly connected with the actual happening of the war event, but who are otherwise connected because they helped it happen, they are not getting chakra because they do not physically and actively participate. Oh. Ultimately, for an example, the pilot who goes for the sortie and does something, he gets a Veer Chakra. But the persons who see that the pilot goes there and do his work successfully, they are just on the ground. So therefore, people who are not directly connected with the actual activity of success or loss are not conferred, but they are given medals for being in service during war. Like that, I was in 1965 Pakistan war. After I was inducted into the Indian Air Force in 63, 30th October 63. I was also in 71 war, which is known as Bangladesh war. Correct. And I was in 71, I was in Chandigarh. If I remember well, I was a regular combatant in 24 Air Squadron at Chandigarh. Now, Chandigarh is very close to Pakistan. So I was in war zones during both the wars. Then some people found out they wanted to celebrate 50 years of 71 war. They found out and they came to know there is some gentleman who has done an act of bravery and got himself up in society. He has made a name in society. So he is entitled to be honored. So that's how I was invited. I don't know who suggested mine. I was invited and then I felt so good that at the end of 50 years somebody remembers you and gives you an award for bravery, not in the Air Force but outside the Air Force.
that is great. It is said that the soul always knows how to heal itself. The challenge is to silence the mind. Now, people like senior advocate Surendra Desai have silenced their mind. He knows what he has lost, but he knows also what he has gained because he has lost something. It's very difficult to find this type of people. And that is why in Gazali, in Prudent Media, we are honored that one person about whose past as a person from Air Force was hardly known to us Goans here, has been rightly honored on the 50th anniversary.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you very much for giving your valuable time. Now let me have you back in cap in your honored uniform.
Let me salute you, Dr. Air Force Way.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot for being with me.
Yeah.